Hi friends, it's Belinda here from Be Making Joy, and welcome to episode 70 of What Brings Me Joy, which is mostly knitting. I am a knitting pattern designer based out of Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and this is my bi-weekly or so podcast where I share what's on my needles, the projects that I have just finished, new things that I have cast on, and it's where you get a sneak peek of some of my upcoming designs. And this episode I have 3 finished objects to show off, and one of them is a new and upcoming design. So I look forward to it. And if you're new here, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, I'm so glad to have you back. I am recording this on Thursday, March the 19th, 2026. I guess that's all the housekeeping. My first finished object is what I'm wearing. Now this is a test knit that I did for Kim Shaffir Designs, which I will link in the show notes below. I can't tell you too much about it other than the test knit due date is May 1st, so I expect the pattern will be out shortly after that. And this is like, yeah, here it is. It's got 6 inches of ease. She recommends 6 to 8 inches of ease, and then all the side increases for an A-line shaping, and I did it all according to pattern. I don't think it suits me very well, but if someone has a pear shape, they probably need that A-line. Yeah, it doesn't suit me after already starting with that much ease to then do more increases. But it's fine. I used sock needle yarn from Ancient Arts Yarns. The color changes on the hem is simply because I ran out of yarn and had to go buy more, and the dye lot was different. With hand-dyed yarn, there's no real control over getting the exact same shade every time, especially here in Calgary when our city water changes in composition from almost day to day, definitely from season to season. So, but I think it looks okay with the colors as they are. I trimmed the hem, the neckline, and the armbands with it, so it's okay. Yeah. I do have one particular dress that I think it looks okay with, and so I will put a picture in for you. And I'm going to take it with me to Hawaii and see how it handles the heat. And I think that's all there is to say about that. I feel like Forrest Gump. I'm always saying that's all there is to say about that. Anyway, so I originally thought I was going to have enough yarn. It was the leftovers from when I designed my Tracy cardie. I almost had enough. I'm gonna go get my Tracy cardie and put it on because I was hoping that they would go together as a set. So let's see how that looks. So the Tracy cardie I designed in memory of my sister Tracy. Oof. Yeah, it's a little bulky. I'm sure it's a little too oversized for this, maybe. Yeah. All right. It's all right. Yeah. I could do that. But I'm going to get hot quick here. Our house is warm. We had weather yesterday up to plus 20, but we didn't turn off the thermostat. The other finished object, the second finished object I have to show you is the Hipsulaisen Karuselli socks, which translates to carousel socks from Finland. The designer's name is Katie Coty. I seem to have deleted that from my notes. I'll put it on the screen. And when I showed you these last episode, I had just finished the foot of sock 1. So now they're both finished ends woven in, and everything. Though very unique, the knitting starts at the center of the heel and works out in a hexagon pattern until it covers your instep. This edge was grafted. These two sides of the hexagon became the toe. And as I said last episode, the pattern for the star toe goes directly to a point, which I didn't do. I thought that looked too elfish. So I stopped at 16 stitches and grafted it. And then we left off at starting the foot from the other two sides of the hexagon. And I think next time I do this, I'm going to make some adjustments. So immediately you pick up 4 stitches on the instep to close the gap, which then makes the foot circumference wider than, no, the leg circumference wider than the foot circumference. Most patterns, sock patterns, assume your foot and your legs are the same circumference, but of course they aren't always. So it's good to know how to make adjustments for that, I guess. But I didn't adjust it, and so that gives me a little extra fabric here around the ankle. But it immediately goes into this rib, the twisted stitch rib, so that cinches it in. Pretty neat. You're changing it to the rib 2 stitches at a time each row until they're all rib, and then you're changing it back, and then rib again at the cuff. And then the leg is a little longer than usual, or longer than I'm used to. And then it has calf increases at the back right here, which, lucky for me, hit me in exactly the right spot. So, pretty good pattern, lots of fun. I really enjoyed making it. I would love to make another pair. So it fits all right, except slightly loose. The toe instructions say to start the decrease when you reach the top of your pinky toe. Well, I guess there's not as much difference between my pinky toe and my longest toe as she accounted for. So it's slightly long. There's like no negative ease left in it for me. So there's no, it's not stretching at all on my foot. It's just sitting there. So it fits, but it would probably fit a bigger foot better. But I'm going to wear them today to knit group to show them off and get some footage for you of what they look like on my feet. And insert it here. The yarn again is Sock Natal from Ancient Arts Yarns. Their January color of the month, Velveteen Rabbit. Ancient Arts Yarns is my local yarn store here in Calgary, if any of you are new and are not aware. Now, I think, yeah, I'll wear them for a bit, see how they fit, how they feel. If they're not comfortable, I'll let my middle daughter with slightly bigger feet try them on and see what she thinks. I think she would probably love that weird, unique construction. So I've had them on for about almost 5 hours now, and they're staying up all right. They fit, but just fit. Any bit of stretch and they'd be too loose. But I quite like them. I'm excited to make another pair. What do you think, Nikki? But yeah, you can see the loose fabric around the ankle. So I'll definitely take that into account next time. And the toe length, I think I'll measure how much that actual decreasing length is so that I know where to stop next time. But I'm loving them. So cool. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there is another finished object that I finished. I finished another 2 more of my dishcloths. So there's now, a second. So there's now 16 of them in my box. So this is my Three Sisters Mountain dishcloth pattern, available free on my blog, bemakingjoy.ca. I'm ready to give away to my congregation and to our visitors in July. So that was a side note. Then the other project I've been working on is a new one. It's an oven door towel hanger. And this was at a request of a friend. She sent me a picture of one that she saw in somebody's house that was crocheted and asked me if I could make her one or two. I don't crochet, so I of course had to translate the pattern into knitting. So it goes over the oven door and your towel goes through the loop. So I've been taking pictures throughout the process of figuring this out and taking notes, and I thought I'll write a blog for you to, like this will be a good example to explain how I go through my designing process, my pattern writing process, what steps how it comes together, how this one came together. And so when the blog is up and running, of course the pattern will be in that blog, free. And so I will link it in the show notes down below. Not today, but I'll come back and link it when the blog is up. So I started the knitting down here with an I-cord tab. And my I-cord edging up. But what I wanted to say was this loop, I questioned whether it was suitable like that, because she said the one that she saw had a hard piece in it, like a children's bracelet kind of piece. So I got to that point and I sat and I hummed and hawed and took pictures and finally decided to graph this one and see how it hangs. So I'm going to put a picture in here for you of how it hangs on the oven door. I'm thinking this may stretch out over time. Like, I mean, it's fine for right now, but if it starts stretching out. So I am going to, where did I hide them? Here it is. I debated about threading a wire through the I-cord, but I thought if I can't get it perfectly round, a funny kink is going to look worse than just a stretched out loop. So my daughter gave me these that she had hiding in her stash in her room. And so I'm going to the next one. I've already started a second one. And this one, I'm going to attempt to do the I-cord directly around the hoop as we go. So then after that's done, I will finalize that blog. So hopefully sometime next week. It's hard to predict how long it takes me to do things because I don't keep like regular work hours. It's very chaotic around here. Now, I'll move on to some works in progress. The one that I've been enjoying the most right now is my jean cardigan. And that's by the designer Johanna Bohm. And, oops, goodbye wires. And here we are. And I don't know if I can put it over my shoulders for you. Let's try. So I separated for the sleeves since I spoke to you last and gotten quite a few inches. And oh dear, I'm pulling the needles out. I wasn't at the end of the row. I should have been at the end of the row before I did this. Okay, after we finish recording, I have some work to do to pick up those stitches. But the lace pattern on it was taking quite some time through the yoke part because I had to incorporate every new raglan stitch into that lace. But now that I'm on the body and it's the same 12 row repeat, I'm in a rhythm and I'm loving it. Now I'm going to carefully put that on the bed. So the yarn I used from that was from my stash. It's a Karen Cloud Cake polyester. Purple is my favorite color, so I grabbed it when I first saw it at Michael's. Not sure I think it's the best yarn, but this pattern is definitely the best pattern for that yarn, I think. Pardon me. I think my asthma is kicking up. And I am whipping through this far too fast, but okay. And the other whip that I wanted to show you is my hockey game project. I take this bag to the hockey game. It's exactly the allowed dimensions for a bag in the arena. And of course, I have to look inside the bag every time to see what I'm bringing in. High security, but they let me in. I happen to have the same woman every time searching it, so she knows what it is. So, so I've been reserving this project for knitting at the hockey arena because it's hockey flames. It's hockey themed, and the yarn is the Calgary Flames colorway. It's Hat Trick by Ancient Art Yarns. I just remembered I didn't tell you what yarn I'm using for my oven hanger. It's the Bernat Handicrafter Cotton. So this is the second panel. First panel is already done. This one probably one more hockey game and then I would have it done and ready. I don't know if I'm getting to any more hockey games this year. The season's almost over and we're going away. So the two pieces are joined together by a strip of material, which I'm going to choose to do in a black. And I don't know if I told you this is my pattern. It's the Stadium Sit-Upon pattern. That can be a cushion cover or a carry bag. And the strap, if you choose to do a carry bag, the joining strip becomes the strap. So I'm going to get that strip set up to be my airplane knitting on my next travel. And I'm hoping to finish this up in the next month or two and enter it into the Calgary Stampede Arts and Crafts section. So if I haven't gone to another game by the end of the season, I will focus on it and finish it at home. Wow, I have just gone so fast through there. But I appreciate having this outlet to record where I'm at with all my projects, keep a journal, a diary, put it out in the world so that I can be held accountable for the things that I cast on. I am going to cast on something new next week because we are preparing for another trip, and I'm going to start a fresh project. My plan for the trip is to do a sweater, probably the Love Note Ranunculus or Wilfreda, one of the ones with a large gauge, so it will be a quick knit. One that I've already done before, so I kind of know what I'm doing. And I'm thinking that I'll have a different color for each day of our trip. So whether I finish that color or not, the next morning I'm going to start the next color. So we'll have a multi-width stripe, and as a memory, right? I can remember this section I knit on the airplane, this section I knit by the pool or whatever, right? That's my plan. So stay tuned in a couple of weeks to see that. Now, I have a tradition here now of bringing up my notebook and doing a WIP count update and a stash down update. So let me find my notebook. The back of my calendar book, I've got my WIPs list. And in the last episode, I reported that I had 7 WIPs. I finished the carousel socks and the test knit tee. And that brings me down to 5. I started and finished an oven door hanger, but I've started a second one. So that brings me up to 6. The dishcloths don't count because as soon as I finish one, I immediately start another. They're on the go, on the treadmill, or in my purse. I have one on the treadmill and one in my purse. So that's technically 2 projects, but I'm only counting it as 1 in my WIP count. So we can cross off the carousel socks and the test knit tee. And we're down to, oops, I got to write on the door hanger in here. Here we go, oven door hanger. Now we're at 6 WIPs. And then on the next page here, I have my stash in, stash out numbers. I'm recording how much yarn I use compared to how much yarn I buy. Not saying that I'm not allowed to buy anymore, just saying that I need to use stuff I have. So I weigh each project as it's finished, and I need to pause here and weigh these carousel socks because I didn't record that. And the oven door hanger that's finished. I need to add those to my list and be right back. Okay, these socks weighed 92 grams. The oven door hanger weighed 12 grams. A button by itself weighs 1 gram, so we'll say this was 11 grams of yarn. The t-shirt weighed 249 grams. And earlier this month, I finished a pair of Fliego heel socks, which weighed 82 grams, 82.26. I have a couple of different scales here. For the smaller projects, I get it down on the small scale and get it down to the 0.2 digits. Anyway, and I gave away 600 grams worth of yarn. So awesome. I have a friend in the congregation. The brother is making little mini toque keychains. Toques is the Canadian word for hats. Keychains for giving away at our convention this summer. So I gave him 600 grams worth of yarn. That is leftovers I knew I was never going to use again. Yarn that I know doesn't exist anymore, so I can't design with something that my customers can't find. So yeah, I gave him a bag of 600 grams worth of yarn. So that all tallies up to 1,034.26 grams. And I did not buy any yarn in the month of March so far, and I don't think I will. But double check that again next episode. That adds up to 1,034.26 grams for the month of March. Out to the plus. As you know, February was not so good. January was good. February went down. So we're back up. Now add all the together, January, February, March, year to date. Year to date, I have used or gave away 989.29 grams more than I brought into the house. I feel really good about that. I'm so glad that I'm tracking this. It's really a good motivator for me. Okay, I think that's all I have to share. So this is where I will sign off. If you have any questions, put them in the comments down below or reach out to me. Be Making Joy. I'm Be Making Joy everywhere. All the socials that I am active on. So until next time, happy knitting, happy crocheting, happy diamond dotting, jigsaw puzzling, drawing. Oh, my daughter drew a pretty cool picture in her father's notebook. His note-taking notebook. She went while we were away several pages in and did a drawing on it, and then she was watching it every night to see if he was getting closer and closer to that page, and he just found it last night. So I'm going to put a picture of that in here to end off with. So happy whatever it is that you like to do, go make some joy.